is there. Number two, it has been discussed, the Ministry of Gender, I believe there is there, but what needs to have happened was when this law was effectively applied, the first thing was to speak on behalf of the president, because the president had created the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Welfare. He does not have to come out and be the mouthpiece for women, because he's already given the formal equality and the substantive equality for it to happen by creating that ministry and by enabling it. And he stood very well. I was there and I want to witness it, to ensure that it happened, and we all rallied around it. We've been fighting for 30 years before I came into that position. And when I came into the position, I came in because I said, let me accept this offer to go and consolidate the gains and move the issue for women's rights to go further. And that has been going on.
Do you think those gains have been consolidated when you
they are not consolidated. We cannot immediately. It's a process. And in a highly patriarchal society, in a society where there is male dominance, in a society where there is resistance, in a society where there is a lot of ignorance, and all the other gamuts of things, that how they see women and how they fear the changes that are coming for women, there is resistance. Some are either latent or manifest, some are subtle. And I've come to see that in different forms and shapes. So whatever we can do, in cabinet, how many women were there?
Few.
4 women, maximum 3, a minimum 3. So there were how many men? Now that question there is what I want to leave to the public. Then you also go out to the National Assembly. In the National Assembly, how many women are there? And how many of those women who are there, even if they have the voice and they have the power, they have the gender sensitivity, it's about numbers. And it's about consensus. And if the majority who are mainly men are against that, what can they do? There is nothing they can do. So those who are blaming women, who have been in those positions, don't understand the internal struggles and dynamics we face and what is being done, and the amount of work that we have to do to negotiate to ensure that things reach there. I cannot speak for the Ministry of Gender, but I expected them to come out and give an unequivocal statement on behalf of His Excellency, because that's the mouthpiece of the President. The President cannot be everywhere talking, and he should not. He should give his orders or his consents and consent to issues that are going. That's why we have cabinet, and we are going to cabinet to discuss. And in all my deliberations within cabinet, the President was very clear about women's empowerment, girls' empowerment, and the vulnerable groups' empowerment. Now, the dynamics start unfolding when there's what we call politics. Gender politics, you understand, and feminist politics. So to say that Dr. Touray, as an icon of gender equality, we have done a lot, and I don't want to take credit for myself alone. We have done it in cabinet, we have done it in pushing, and we've been working with the coming out from the non-state actors, that is from the CSO. We've been doing it. But what is happening is that we need to fundamentally change the political landscape. We fundamentally have to change the political landscape, because what is happening, things that affect women's lives, women's sexual and reproductive health rights, women's aspect of social, political, and economic rights are being shaped, governed, and controlled by beings that are not even up to that level to do so, because they want to perpetuate their own subjectivities on women. Understand? Not looking at the need to protect the vulnerable groups, not looking at the need to ensure that the country is constituted of men and women, and women constitute about 51% or more, and in the political field, 57% of the active voters are women, and when it comes to fighting to change, it's women who come and lead to the play. They are the ones that vote those men there to go there and start discussing about women, and even talking in ways that is so degenerating, that is so disgraceful, and it's not even based on facts, because we are all educated.
Do you think these are political, the silence of all of them. I'm not just saying the president.
I understand.
The silence
the president is not silent.
No, in this case, the president is silent. Doctor,
he has the Ministry of Gender.
You are defending the president.
I am not defending the president. You know why?
I'm watching you all this while.
No, I went there.
You are defending. Let me finish.
I will tell you why.
Let me finish. You are defending the president.
I am not defending the president.
But let me be clear here. The president
was silent.
The president is very silent. And he should not. Let me come. For positions like this, look, this is a law that is in our books for all these years, right?
8 years now.
GAM, we all know, is the most critical. You went to jail because of these causes.
I know.
Right? And you know the fight you put in to be there, right? Now, I'm expecting if the president and the government and political leaders, not just the president.
Indeed, I agree
all
with you.
Political leaders,
exactly.
If they believe that this law should be kept in our books, they should make their positions known. But it should start with government.
Yes.
It should start with the gender ministry. If the president is silent, the gender ministry has been silent in all these women bills, including when you were there, the women's bill. But now the president is not. Everybody, me including, everybody believes these are political wills because this is a very sensitive topic.
No, we were not sensitive. We were not silent. Maybe you may not understand. You know, that's why I said you have to understand.
But I'm speaking now. Okay,
yes,
now.
Let me just explain a little bit what you are. Because
okay.
We are talking and we want people to understand out there the way things work.
Some people are saying we should speak in local language because
yes.
more love the
But okay. In governance, we'll get there. I'm ready for you.
Okay.
In governance.
This big kilo, so I'll say big kilo. Sometimes we'll go.
In governance. In governance. In a democracy.
Yeah.
There is what they call rule of law.
Yeah.
There is what they call processes, and also the law of reciprocity.
Yeah.
In governance. And we also have to be open, especially when you talk about democracy. Now, the president, as the leader, has delegated his powers to certain sectors. And these are the ministries and the ministers who are supposed to take responsibility after consultation in cabinet, where cabinet is a combination of the president and all his ministers.
Yeah.
You understand? To come together and decide matters that are going to the National Assembly. It goes through a process. Now, we have been there and we have been watching the dynamics. And that's the reason why I'm trying to clarify. The president was not silent. Because the fact that he has, we have facilitated, or he has actually created the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Welfare, it means the primary responsibility for anything that has to do with women, children and people with disability falls squarely on the Ministry of Gender.
But doctor,
now the Ministry of Gender silence.
Doctor, you know governance more than me. The president is the overall head, right?
I know what is happening. I'll share it with you.
The president, President Barrow left Dr. Touray as the health minister a position of Tanyina. Jani Ularo kelebe statement of
No, but if the health minister
no, but health minister market. Nim president left yake, huh? President Bafula through
that is showing you failure in governance. The failure in governance is, this is what I want to say.
So I want to talk to the president
out there.
But the box stops with the president.
No, the president cannot interfere
president
in
has
everything.
No, but he has the.
No, the box stops at him.
Yes.
You know what? Let me tell you how the box stops at him.
Yeah.
If you allow me to just
go ahead. I allow you.
It's an opportunity to enlighten the population and people out there.
Yes, that's
now, with this process going on, and we have taken a case to court, and the Inspector General of Police has taken its steps because there is a law. So that means the state, which has created the law, you understand, has applied the law. It's not GAM-TV or Human Rights Commission or all the NGOs or the international community. This is a law that has gone through a rigorous process, many years of advocacy. It became a law and it was promulgated, enacted, and it became a bill that was protecting a law that was protecting the girl child and women. Now that law is in place. Who is the implementer? The law enforcers is the IGP's office. The IGP was alerted. They took their responsibility. We as NGOs who are interested in advancing gender equality and women's rights, particularly working on that area, came out to congratulate the IGP. The first policy statement that should have come from the state is not going to be the president who would speak. It is the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Welfare.
Is that not part of government?
Thank you. That's what I'm telling you. So you cannot blame the president.
Who is the head of government?
is the president. But then who is representing the president in that ministry?
The gender ministry.
Thank you.
Finish. But then is the president.
Yes, gender minister, the president is a Democrat. He is giving way. But I can tell you when now, we are ready, I will talk to you. I agree on this. Now let's move. I agree. But my question is, when that happened, now this thing, it brought a lot of dimension. Oh, yes.
National Assembly members, you know, it started with Suleiman Saho. When that happened, we saw UN, all the agencies issuing statements because they're concerned. They want to cement what we have.
Absolutely.
But up to now, we haven't seen a statement from the government. That is my issue.
Okay.
Whether
correct.
from
Let
the
me
gender
give you some
ministry,
information. One thing I want to tell you. The Gambia is part of the United Nations.
Yes.
And the Gambia has ratified almost most of the bills of rights of women. And in particular, the Maputo Protocol, CEDAW, and many, many others, and the additional protocol, and so many things that are protecting and promoting women's rights and empowerment. And also part of that includes harmful traditional practices, Article 5. And the state in Article 4 is specifically asked to ensure that everything is put in place to protect those rights, and that is the law. Now that that law is in place, so it means it is binding because it is committed to itself, and it has an obligation to ensure that that happens. Now it has done so. So the international community who are part of that, that's why we have them in every country. They are part of the United Nations, and they are here to advance progressive development. It is of course going to be of concern. We wrote, those who are NGOs wrote, we are here to supplement or support the government. And the NGOs wrote, you have seen in different platforms where we have been engaging, and we have been also informing the communities. You know, I'm just coming yesterday. After 5 days of hard work, I am coming, but I'm very happy.
I'm happy we're having this conversation.
I am happy because what I got there is so affirming and so fulfilling that knowledge is power. So what is happening is that the international community have to. They cannot sit down and put a bland eyes, but they are not interfering. It is their duty and responsibility.
They are making their
position known, and that is what issue. You cannot sit on the fence about certain issues of matters in which the state has already made an obligation.
But the government is not making their position known.
The government.
Can we agree on that? They have not made their position known.
No, it is known. I will get back. I said I will let you know.
Okay.
Now they have to remind the state about their obligation and to say that the trends and direction that certain things are going in terms of the laws and the bills and the rights that you have agreed to sign and entrench and already made a law against it. It's not progressive for that to happen, and they need to come, but they are not interfering. They are reminding us, and we also are reminding the state as key stakeholders from the civil society organization to play, and that's why the Human Rights Commission is involved, GAM-TV is involved, Tango is involved, the network of gender-based violence is involved, and all the other youth groups that are engaged in this thing are involved. And the UN, UNICEF, and all these people are involved. Not only that, internationally, there are 180 organizations through GAM-TV's mobilization. They have written and signed calling the state to take note of the fact that this is affecting vulnerable women and groups, and evidence have shown that it is inimical to their health and well-being. It has deleterious effects, and it has nothing to do with our religion. Now, the sad thing about it is that I don't want to say we are all ignorant, but I think educated people have a very key role to shape this country, move forward. And it is our duty, our divine duty and responsibility, not to allow people to sit on anywhere and shape the 50%. This is about misogyny, hatred for women. Because those who are speaking, can you imagine a lawyer coming out to say that we should not interfere in the culture and tradition?
Is that my Fati? Are you talking about my Fati?
My Fati, yes.
Yeah, because he made a statement.
He made a statement, and it's very disappointing.
He said we don't have
as a lawyer,
mutilation.
Whether it is mutilation, or whether it's pricking, or whether even it is pinching. Even pinching. Who has the right to interfere with God, what Allah has created? And who has the right to define how a woman should look? And who had the right to do this? And knowing that they should understand that female genital mutilation predates all monotheistic religions. He has attended a lot of programs. He's a human rights lawyer.
Yes.
He knows, he ought to know. So I don't know how he got his degree.
My Fati?
Yes, I don't know whether he was a full lawyer or what, but I am disappointed at my party. If he wants to use that as a political gain for the women who he thinks are ignorant out there, let him try it. To start and talking, because they have been engaged in it, we have now worked and created awareness. It was a call by the women and the men and the chiefs and every cluster in the Gambia that have done the dropping of the knife ceremony. We have done 7 so far. 208 circumcisers have abandoned the practice. We have 1,056 communities out of 1,800 and something plus communities in the Gambia who have come together to make that public declaration. For my party to stand and say that this should not, this should continue. He thinks when he says that because people are stopping there, say, my party, wallahi billahi, I am telling you this. He will not, and I don't think he's fit to lead the country.
Really?
Yes, he doesn't.
Why?
He's not fit to lead the country.
Just because he said he supports FGM?
He is misogynistic. He hates women. He hates women's rights. He hates, that's it.
May is known to be a human rights defender.
But no, but he has not been defending the rights of those girls and women who are dying out of FGM. And having known that there is medical evidence that is being sown everywhere in the world. And if he is educated, let him go and research. I challenge him to go and read the Quran and come and quote the section and tell me, I will close my organization. I challenge him. Let him do that. He will never be able to do it, because if he reads the Quran, he should take a lead in this. Those who are promoting, and this is blasphemy against Islam.
But we have seen religious leaders, which I will come to. First, let's go to what really created all of this.
It's the successful implementation of the law.
What really created this? You said the numbers have started going down because of the law. Now, if the numbers have started going down, right?
Not only the law, but because awareness.
Awareness, the work you guys have done.
Yes.
You guys have done 30 years of advocacy and all this stuff. And of course, with the law, the numbers have started going down. Why prosecution at this point? Because that is what has threatened the law now. Because there was this is what a lot of people say.
Okay. But
why?
Now let me just explain and clarify that, because if you are sitting in the public and analyzing it,
I am asking the questions.
You are asking.
It's important I ask this question. This is what people want to know.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
What is the purpose of the law? That's the first fundamental question we have to ask ourselves. When you put a law in place, what is it meant for? I throw that out. Maybe people ever. And if there is a law in existence about something and that issue is being flouted and there is a misdemeanor, what happens if there is a law? You apply it. Now, to say that FGM is criminalized and the law is there, like any other law that exists, there are many, many laws that are existing that have to deal with issues. And it's not applied on immediately. It is applied when the law is broken. It is applied when the law is broken. Now, this law was applied because there was a misdemeanor. It was broken. 8 children were slated for cutting, and through our efficiency in monitoring our communities, we caught the culprit. It was reported to the police. We followed the due process, and then the law was applied, whether it's whoever it is. What is the problem about that?
Doctor, for the past 7 years, these pocket cases have been happening.
Yes.
Being all in the communities, and of course, right? But
after the law has been implemented.
Yes.
No, before the law, even that was
the past 7 years or
yes, 7 years ago. I was not inside GAM-TV.
No, this is the thing, Doctor.
I was not in GAM-TV.
And I want to tell you, Molko, for the past 7 years, you hung your CSO boots.
Yes.
In fact, my favorite civil society member, Mahdi Jobate, has come after you several times. You are civil society. You were a role model to all of them. You hung those boots and you were in government. Kabributa government rek doctor wants to a good comeback. I case Hulindi and
no, there is no case brought by a doctor. Let me tell you one thing.
Yeah.
It shows that when I left them there, they were not doing their jobs.
And you, because you didn't help.
I was not here. No,
you didn't help them to do their job.
How can
you
I
were in
help
a position of power.
No, that's the
You were the most important woman in this country.
Let me tell you one
Number 2
thing.
in the Gambia.
Let me tell you one thing.
Doctor, number 2, the most important woman.
I agree with everything you are saying. Allow me to learn.
Okay, go ahead.
You see, it is interesting.
Yeah.
To be a champion of something, you must earn it.
Yes, and you did.
And having earned it,
yeah,
you have created a critical mass. I have left with over 15 organizations doing advocacy on FGM, including MADI. I left an organization and I went for a higher responsibility to consolidate the fight I was doing. So where were all those critical mass of organizations? Where were all those activists who were there talking about FGM apart from GAM-TV? What did they do? If there were pockets going on and they did not act, they did not do anything, they should be the ones to blame and not Fatou Touray. When I was over there, I am there to push the agenda and ensure that democracy, good governance, human rights, and development takes place. That's another realm of responsibility that I cannot. And you know what? Even if you have not done anything, you start going to your organization, it is not right. It will be conflict of interest. When I left GAM-TV, I handed over everything. I called the meeting and there was a minute written and everything. It's not that I abandoned it, but I thought it was a responsibility and I don't have to interfere. I expect that whoever comes there and all the other organizations out there we have built this thing, it will be an opportunity for them to shine the light on the work we have been doing.
Would you
so
agree?
Nobody should blame.
Would you agree that?
And that the fact that I have come shows that it means people are not doing anything. They are eating money and nothing going on.
That's what I'm saying. This is what people say. These organizations are good at getting money. And getting money,
I'm not blaming
and
anybody.
Now they're saying, Dr. Natalie, now this is where she gets the cash. She's going to have a cool way.
Yes, look, I am committed to women's rights. You know, when it comes to women's rights issues, women need funds. They need resources to move forward.
And that's what we're doing.
And organizations working, even you as a leader in your organization, you need the funds to do the work you are doing.
Of course.
So when it comes to issues that fundamentally changes the lives of women, there is a lot of talk. And sometimes some of these politicians use those women who don't seem to apply their gender lens or their feminist lens to understand the politics behind it. And then they start looking at their champions and saying stories around them and then saying this. Who does not need money?
We all do.
We all do.
Yeah.
So when it comes to them, they were left here. What was happening? If they give them the money, they did not give it to them to eat. They gave them to work, and through that work, they have to do a lot of things to get the results. So GAM-TV, when I came back as a champion, we continued doing what we are supposed to do, and we discovered, we have put the law there, but the law belongs to the state. We advocated, we are an advocacy organization. We reach out to the communities and grassroots activism, create awareness, raise their consciousness, educate them, and bring in all the evidence to make the case for them to make the right decisions. And we do not work in isolation. We are going in every nook and corner of the Gambia to ensure that we work with the traditional leaders, the chiefs, the alkalolus, the women leaders, the youth leaders, the women of reproductive age, imams, and all other target groups. It's a very difficult work. It's not easy.
It's not easy.
But then, when they are empowered, that's what I want to put out there. Those people may not go to Western education, but if you read them with the language they understand, with the right information, they engage you intellectually. Then you know they are thinking, they know you're thinking, they tell you, give me the evidence, you show them the evidence, and then they try to make testimonies and reflections. This is what we bring together to tell the donors, please help us to move forward, to move so that we need the awareness. The law was a consensus. The law came as a result of rigorous work, as a result of the calling of the people and the chiefs. I am very proud to say that today. I just concluded a meeting under the Canadian Local Initiative Fund, a program in this thing with the chiefs. We will put it out there. People will see. We targeted the women of reproductive age and women leaders and young leaders. We also targeted the community-based facilitators. You understand? All those people, what they say, their voices, because they are representative. GAM-TV is not only reaching out to targets, but also we have our systems on the ground. we have a fully fledged system that is culturally relevant.